save the best till last on my demos. This is an Ohio Star. My very, 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 very favourite block. One of the first blocks I ever made, and I've loved it all ever since. So here we go, Ohio Star. Now we've done straight line sewing, we've done, well, it's all straight line, but we've done like just joining pieces together. And we've also done fast pieced half square triangles. But now we're going to do a fast pieced quarter square triangle. Okay, sounds exciting, doesn't it? Just because it's a Ohio Star, that's why. So just to explain, you could, if you wanted to, make this block, and if you, as you can see, this middle row here, we've got our central square, we've got our corner squares up here, and this is a fast piece quarter square triangle here. But it could have started life as 4 pieces of fabric, 4 triangles. And sometimes a pattern will tell you to do that. But once you know what you're doing with things, you can do it in this process, and it's so much more accurate and so much faster. If you do a whole quilt with these Ohio Stars on, which would look gorgeous, you can do the fast piece method. So I'm just going to throw this number at you, and if you don't understand it, that's because you haven't done a lot before. But if you thought about it and thought, I might wonder how I do that to calculate the different size, I'm just going to throw it at you. Put it in your bank for thinking about for another day if you think I'm talking rubbish. And then one day you'll go, I bet that's when Pat was talking about a fast piece quarter square triangle. So I want all these have to go against these squares. They have to be the same size, or hopefully. And in order to do that, this square here is 4 inches from there to there now, because it was cut at 4.5 inches. But when it's joined to other things, it will be 4. So we want to be able to join this to it without it not fitting. So if we cut this at 4.5 inches, to make a fast piece quarter square triangle to go with it, you need to add 1.25 inches to that measurement. So this is 4.5. So these are cut at 5 3/4, which is 4.5 plus 1.25, 5 3/4. That's just a fact that one day you will want to know. So there it is for you to look at. So if I wanted this to be 6 inches finished now, it'd be 6.5 to cut, and I would still add 1.25 to it. So it would become 7 3/4. I could have tested Sarah then, but I thought better not.
Yeah, it's good.
So whatever this measurement is, this size square, you could be 2 inches. So you cut it at 2.5, and these would be cut at 3 3/4. So whatever this size you want it to be, you add 1.25 to the cut size. Okay, forget that now. Let's just show you how to do it. But one day you might want to know that. So draw a diagonal line corner to corner, and on the light side, which sounds it's just the same as the other one, but it's not. So we draw in our line, and we've got 2 fabrics together. Take them to your sewing machine and stitch 1/4 inch either side of that line. Turn it round. One thing I haven't said, I'm not right-handed. Naturally, if you're left-handed, you'll probably go the opposite way to me, but I always go this way, but it doesn't make any difference. Okay, so we've got our piece here, and we're going to cut across that diagonal, because that's what we do. We've drawn the line, we've stitched either side. I've definitely got to stand up for this one. I'm breathing in so you don't see any. Okay, just in case she's got me that bit on camera.
You're safe.
Okay, so you're going to cut corner to corner on the line. It will say in your pattern in capital letters now, do not move these pieces. So take up your ruler like so, and move your body. Leave this where it is and cut corner to corner there. You don't need any lines to look at because you just don't. It's a corner to corner. So you cut corner to corner. The important thing is that you do not move this fabric until now, okay? So then just do it gently in case you haven't caught it all, and separate them. And that's the important bit that you've got to do. What you do now is you pick it up and you're going to press each piece. And also what this does, by using this method, it means when you put your block together, you'll never end up with bias edges of your fabric on the outside of your block. And that's really important as time goes on and your quilts get bigger and bigger and bigger. So that's another reason for doing it. So pick them up one at a time and press them all. I'm pressing mine to the dark checky, like so. So we're going to cut, we're going to do 4 of these, like so. Sometimes if you've got a lot of them to do, you can just do all this process first. The most crucial point of this is that you do not move the fabric. I always write it in capitals. Should have shouted it really. The reason you don't move it is because you're never 100% sure it's going back in exactly the same position, because you don't want to move the centre. Now what you do, you look at these and you think, oh yeah, I've got to put them together. And then you pick them up like this. And then if you were in my class, you'd go, I can't do this, Pat. It hasn't worked. Nothing's worked because these are together and that's not what you want. But all you have to do is swap them over. So sometimes you pick them up wrong and then you think it's not going to work. So don't worry if you do that, because when I started, that's what I did. So now we're going to join these together to form your fast piece quarter square triangle. And so to do that, I would take my ears off, remember? Flip him over like so. Now, what you're going to do, you're going to lock these seams together. So this is always difficult to see. I'll do my best. So what I'm doing, I'm feeling with my thumb and my finger that there's no gap there. And I can't demonstrate this because I can only feel it. So if I pulled them apart so they weren't in line, you'd feel the gap in between with your fingers. So just try that with any seams and it'll work. So you click them together like so. And if I peel it back, you'll see that they're exactly lined up. Can you get that, Sarah? Yeah. No, so they're lined up at the point there. So if I was going to put a pin anywhere, that's where it would go. But out of the way of my sewing, because you never want to sew over a pin because it could break your needle. And if you put it here, let's say I put it here, I'll show you what happens. So you're going to go like that, lining up your lining up bits. Your bias edges are in the middle, look. So yeah, just take it easy, but they're better there than on the outside. They've got to be somewhere because it's fabric and it's patchwork. So pop him under your machine and you stitch nice and gently, right? And if you've got this pin in here, right, now, and you're going to stitch out it, right, you're going, right, oh my God, go get the pin out. So you're thinking, am I going too fast? I'll take the pin out, so I'll take it out. No, or I might not. It's all of those things go through your mind in like that split second. So if it's out of the way, it's better. If you prefer to tack all of these pieces, you can. You don't have to just machine. And if you prefer to hand sew the whole quilt, it would look beautiful. Gives you a much softer edge to what you're doing, and a more handmade look. Oh, come back. So when you open this now, this seam will be, I hate this bit.
No pressure.
Exactly correct in the middle, and yippity-doo-dah it is. Now, which way to press it? Either way, because they're both exactly the same. You've got the same bulk both ways. That's fine. Some people do open their seams, which I don't, never have in all of my years of patchwork. But some people like to open it, and it wouldn't hurt if you did. So I'll just do it with my fingers so you can see. So then it'd look like that, nice and flat. But quite honestly, I think you get a reason for this is if you open a seam, it's got a point of weakness then down here where it's joined. But if you stitch it one way, it's got less chance of having that weakness. That's how patchwork goes that way, and that's why it always has. But it's just a matter of choice. So now I'm gonna always just go away from me, and I press like so from the middle out, nice and flat. Beautiful. Like so. And then this, the light bit of that goes in there. Could be dark, look completely different. That goes in there. Clip off your ears as per. Oh. Stitch the other one as well. I would stitch them both if I were you. And that goes in there. So what you're doing is you're making easy work of what could be 4 tricky triangles, and when you're cutting as well for yourself, it makes the cutting better. The amount of times I've given cutting to Sarah and Mark, and they much prefer to cut squares than triangles. Definitely. So bear that in mind for when you're making progress yourselves. And then you just join your rows together. They all go, in this case, to the solid square. So these have gone in, so these will go out. Always do them opposite if you've got a choice. Sometimes more complex things, you don't get the choice. So that's the Ohio Star, my most favourite block of ever. And it looks so different in different fabrics. So that's that one. Just got the borders to do now, which I'll do in a separate video, just to keep, because it's quite an important process. So we'll come back to that one, and then all your blocks should be finished by now. Thank you.